I'm currently standing outside my local Best Buy because I was wondering what kind of gaming system they'll build for somebody who wants a custom gaming system but doesn't really know what they're looking for. The problem is, I look like the kind of person that first felt the touch of a woman when I was like 25 because I was too busy fondling a graphics card. So there's no way they're gonna think that I don't know what I'm looking for. But luckily, I'm not 25 anymore and I know an Anna. Come. Oh. Yeah, Anna, there you go. So Anna, what's your strat?
My strat is going to be to ask them to build me a PC because I don't want to do that.
Okay.
And I want to be able to play League of Legends with some friends, maybe stream a little, so the computer's got to be able to like do that,
okay.
At least.
And then in terms of budget, what are you going to give them?
I'm going to say about $1,400 Canadian.
Okay. So the reason that we we pre-decided on $1,400, but the reason is because I kind of did a quick look at their website and it doesn't seem like they've got a lot of budget options. Hopefully they're even going to be able to build it for that amount, but we'll see.
It was a weird experience. The first person who helped me was really informed. She was like, okay, for your budget, you want to get a 30 series card with an i5 1100 series, 1100K.
Okay.
Vibes. Anyway, and so then she goes, okay, this guy's gonna help you. He'll make sure everything's compatible. And then he goes onto the floor and starts picking out components. But he's just like, okay, 30 series cards, out of stock. I had originally given a budget of 1,400. We ended up with
just over 1,700 Canadian dollars for the components before tax.
The whole process of like sourcing all of the things probably took about 25 minutes, 30 minutes.
Okay.
Then they had to go and figure out how much it would cost for them to build the system for us.
Okay.
And the problem with that was they didn't know what the SKU number was, so they didn't know how much to charge for it. And then eventually
for the actual building
for the
process?
Building process. Yeah.
When the person that actually knew the SKU showed up, it turns out they charge 150 Canadian dollars to build the system, which is almost double what a local place like Canada Computer charges for the same service. But wait, they weren't done yet.
After which she told me that, okay, they actually don't build computers for non-Geek Squad members. She was like, you have to get the membership so that we can also look after it if stuff if stuff goes wrong.
And then how much is the membership?
So the membership is $20 a month or $240 a year plus tax. So it was more like $260 a year, and you can't cancel it. And like if you do month to month, you have to pay.
So you have to do a year subscription to their membership for them to build you a system.
Yeah.
So not only do you have to pay them $150 to build the system for you, you also have to get a $20 a month subscription. You know, just in case something maybe goes wrong with it and they have to look at it. Which means at the end of the first year, you've paid them $400 to build you a gaming system that was already $400 over budget.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, hopefully they build the living crap out of that system.
Yeah.
So I think you said it's 2 days and then we can pick up our brand new Best Buy PC. Now, it's been 2 days since Anna was initially extorted by Best Buy, and the system's not done yet, but she did get a phone call saying that they made Anna buy the wrong RAM. They got Anna to buy DDR4, but the motherboard only supports DDR5, which means, you guessed it, Anna has to give Best Buy even more money. Now, because it was their mistake, they did give Anna a $50 discount on the RAM, but she does still need to pay an additional $50 when she picks up the gaming system. They also very excitedly realized that Anna hasn't paid for a Windows license yet, which they wanted to charge her 240 Canadian dollars for. Luckily, Anna told them she already has a Windows key, so we don't need to pay that additional amount. So at least we dodged that bullet. But now we just need to wait and see how long it takes them to finally finish the system. Now, the process of picking up our Best Buy gaming system from the very nice but quite slow Best Buy builder people was a mixed bag. On the one hand, they didn't use one of the packs of fans that they got us to buy, so we got a little bit of a discount on the system because they just took the fans back, which puts our total for the components about $260 over budget, if you don't take into account the tax and the absurd amount they charged us to build the system. On the other hand, they did do some interesting things to the Windows install, which they showed Anna, and we'll have a look at in a little bit. Oh, there's a big spider. That camera's not mine anymore, it belongs to the spider now. Now, in terms of case, we got a Thermaltake S200, which according to the box has actual airflow. Now, on top, they don't quite seem to know their way around a PC box. It is in the wrong way around. But it's not like it was being shipped anywhere, so I guess that's fine. We also get our Wi-Fi antenna pre-installed. Okay, on first impression, it seems like they didn't do a terrible job assembling the system. We did pay them $400 to do it, so anything less than immaculate is completely unacceptable. But still. And in terms of I/O, the system does decently. We've got some USB 3 on the front, although no Type-C. Although the I/O on the Tough Gaming motherboard they used kind of makes up for it. 2.5 gigabit Ethernet. Ooh, we can download League of Legends real fast. They also used hella power supply, which is kind of hard to be mad about. Oh, wow, that just limply falls off. When looking inside, it seems like a well put together system. The only thing approaching, I guess, weirdness is that they used both CPU 8-pins. That's not a bad thing, it just isn't necessary, so I don't even know why I'm pointing it out, to be honest. But they made some effort to hide fan cables behind places. And down here, all of the front panel connectors are plugged in and hidden away nicely. They could have shortened this run a bit and tucked more of it away, but again, that's really splitting hairs at this point. Now, in terms of specs, I'm not sure what CPU they used. Going by the Z790 motherboard, it's some current gen Intel CPU. We get a Thermaltake UX200 air cooler, which funnily enough, another customer in line with Anna had to remind the Best Buy people to get a CPU cooler. Also, when Anna picked up the system, the technician who tested it said he was a bit worried about CPU temperatures, but changed some settings in the BIOS to address that, which we'll have a look at a bit later. Next to that is our problem child Corsair Vengeance DDR5 kit, which is rated at 6000 MHz. Motherboard wise, they used a Tough Gaming Z790 Plus Wi-Fi, and then the graphics card is a PNY version of the RTX 4060, with a pretty losery looking cooler on it, so it's quite a base model of one. But with that, let's take the back panel off and see what's going on over there. That rear cable management is perfectly acceptable. Good job, Geek Squad person. And another nice touch is they saved us the peel. Oh yeah. So when it comes to first impressions, Mr. Geek Squad did a reasonable job. The main complaint is still that they massively overspec the system for our given use case. However, these were the cheapest components they had available, and for some reason ordering other ones wasn't an option. We also had to pay $400 for them to build it. But with that, let's see how it runs. Ooh, it's so RGB. Whoa, they really went to town installing crap on this system. There's like multiple versions of Bitdefender. And with the same logic as somebody wearing 2 condoms, we've got another Acronis antivirus on here. I'm very curious to see what this Geek Squad setup guide is. Oh yeah, Anna was telling me about this. These are the product keys for all the syphilis included in the membership we were forced to buy. So I guess it's nice of them to give us that. Oh, they even installed VLC, clearly trying real hard to justify that $20 a month subscription. But then I noticed something they forgot. No way. So they installed all of this crap on, but they forgot to do anything above the like standard Windows setup driver install. And the drivers that Windows Auto installed was almost a year old. So after all of that, they forgot to install the one important thing for a gaming system. Although on the bright side, they did enable XMPs on the RAM, so that's better than most pre-built companies. Oh, and in terms of SSD, we get quite a fancy 1TB drive, and the CPU is an i5 14600K, which Actually, I wonder if they updated the BIOS on this motherboard. They did not update the BIOS, which isn't necessarily a problem. The main recent stability issues with Intel chips seems to mainly affect like i9s and some i7s, so the CPU in here should be okay. Oh, and these are the settings that Mr. Geek Squad changed in the BIOS to try and deal with the temperatures. They switched the boost profile from Asus's boost profile to the default Intel one. Okay, so let's see if that's worked. So I'm starting off with Doom Eternal at 1080p Ultra settings, and the system is crushing it, getting over 200 frames per second. I mean, it makes sense. It is a 4060. This is going to be a fast system. Wow, it's so smooth. This is a 240Hz monitor, so we're actually taking advantage of that extra frame rate, and oh, so much of the smoothness. Now, in terms of what the system's doing, the CPU doesn't have to do a huge amount to keep up with our graphics card, which does mean that our temperatures are pretty good. The graphics card is also doing okay, despite its tiny loser little cooler. The system has absolutely no problem running esports titles like CS2 at 1080p low settings. Of course, this is the case though, it's about as surprising as a dragonfly successfully murdering a thing. Now, aside from esports titles, don't worry, we'll get to League of Legends, but with more demanding games like Cyberpunk here running at 1080p high settings, lots of frame rate. 90 frames per second is a lot. It feels very good and it looks great. As you can see from the frame time graph as well, it's smooth. You know, there's not much stuttering going on. And if we want some ray tracing action, here with ray tracing on medium, we just need to use a little bit of DLSS. We're currently using quality, and we're getting over 60 frames per second. So that option exists as well if you're interested in slightly different looking light. It looks very, very slightly different. And when The Last of Us was building it some shaders, we got a taste of what 100% CPU load does to the temperatures. And the answer is the hell end of Venus. So for gaming, the temperatures are fine on the CPU, but for productivity, the temperatures are definitely not EPing. The Last of Us does run very well at 1080p high settings, with good frame rates and everything looking all fidelity. But that's not what we asked Best Buy for. We asked them for a system to run some League of Legends, so let's see how it handles that. Now, as an adult, I don't really play League of Legends, so I have no idea who to pick, but I guess I'll go with the one that looks like a Shadow Fiend ripoff. Now, at 1080p very high settings, with the system making the bots happen, we're pegged at 240 frames per second, and it seems like the system doesn't even realize there's a game happening. Look at that utilization. It is basically not doing anything. I mean, look at the GPU frequency. It's like not doing anything. Wait, you can't deny creeps? So laning is just free farming at each other. That's what? I then pushed the resolution up to 1440p, which did not phase the system one bit, but it did seem to realize something was happening this time. But then I remembered that Anna briefly mentioned wanting to stream on the system. So I fired up some OBS, set up a very basic thing, and, well, again, the system barely noticed. I started off streaming using NVENC as the encoder, which unsurprisingly didn't impact the performance, despite the fact that we were streaming and recording at the same time. Again, the system was basically idle. Even switching the encoding over to the CPU with a fast quality preset, the system barely noticed. It didn't impact the performance at all, and we were still getting very little utilization. Now again, I was using about as basic a streaming setup as you could use, but Anna just wanted to dabble in streaming, so I think this is a realistic test. So with that, should you have Best Buy build your next gaming system? Not even almost. Just the fact that they force you into a monthly subscription is enough to deserve a cruel and unusual corporal punishment. And aside from the extreme cost for them to build you the system, their tiny part selection meant that the salesperson pressured Anna into getting a system outside of her budget, during the painfully slow and frustrating ordering process. They may have done a reasonable job assembling the system, but no, I'd rather buy an Xbox than pay them $400 to build me a system. Which brings me to the end of the video. Thank you for watching, subscribe to the channel if you liked it, watch another video, suggestion will pop up in a second, and until the next one, bye bye. I look like the kind of person that hasn't felt the touch of a woman, but... oh.
I'm his wife, Dor.
We're walking down.
Okay.